people pay.
That's right.
That's
we have
right.
a guest coming up.
And
too,
we have a
don't
guest coming up. Deborah Merlin is here. Victory Over ADHD, a holistic approach for helping children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. There was another piece of news that came out this week that was quite disturbing. It came in the Lancet journal, which is actually similar to our Journal of American Medical Association. Well, the journal that goes out here, Lancet, is the British version. But there are 1 in 50 people now in the United Kingdom with neurological problems. This is certainly no less an epidemic and something that needs to be taken seriously. Deborah Merlin, who I actually went to high school with in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, you didn't know that about me, she and I met over Facebook and through a common friend, and realized not only did we have this tie with our past, but we are very involved in this work now that covers all sorts of issues, and that is neurological damage. Deborah, welcome to Holy Hormones, honey.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, Ramapo High School, Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
And we have both been traveling on paths, and now we have reconnected. Yeah. But your story is more personal. Mine has always been social political, but your story is more personal with 2 sons who are exhibiting some ADHD symptoms.
Yes, I'm actually a lot of ADHD symptoms. I had twins that were born very premature. They were 10 weeks early, and we were expecting that there would be some delays. By the time they were 3, I was actually hearing autism as one of the labels, and then it switched to ADHD, and then back to Asperger's and high-functioning autism. And it's interesting that I've also heard a lot of other parents say the same thing about their children's diagnoses as well, that they tend to fluctuate. And then there are autistic kids who also have attention deficit disorder as well. So there seems to be a common thread. And, that's what I like to really get into, because if you know what's causing your child's symptoms, then you can address that.
And too often, the only route up until this point has been addressing that with adding more drugs to the regimen.
Yeah.
Ritalin for one.
Yeah.
And certainly there's been a lot of controversy over that, which I know that you're going to address. Tell me, Deborah, in the years that you have been doing this work, and it's been quite extensive, how many children are afflicted in the United States?
That's a really good question. And I can tell you, well, the Environmental Protection Agency estimates that 1 out of 6 women carry enough mercury to put their unborn child at risk for neurological damage. And the Center of Disease Control estimates that 1 out of 6 children have a learning disability. So those numbers match.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that they match 100% of the time, but we have to really look first at the causes and why so many children are showing up. And I don't know the exact number of children who have attention deficit disorder because, for example, in Los Angeles Unified School District, they're estimating that, in a particular category that they have for a specific learning disability, there could be some ADD kids in there. But they have another category for other health impairment where more of the ADHD kids would fall into. But again, it's not specifically for that category. What category they do have specifically is for autism. And it's all on the same spectrum.
It is all on the same spectrum.
It is.
And when you and I had talked, and I've mentioned this to other people who are in neurofeedback therapy, the more that I learn about addiction, neurological diseases, learning disorders, it is all neurological, but I really don't think that the brain knows that it is an addiction or being damaged from alcohol and drugs, or it's being damaged from heavy metal toxicity, or it's being damaged from lack of oxygen, or it's being damaged from pesticides, oh my God, and side effects. It doesn't read it that way, and that's really not the issue. The issue is healing the brain.
Yes, and that starts with the gut.
And that starts with the gut,
Right.
of all things, and it's
Right.
called the second brain.
Right. But going back to your question about how many children, I've been tracking the statistics in the Los Angeles Unified School District. And the autism particularly caught my attention because in 2003, when I started doing my research, autism and ADHD were about the same level. They had about 3,500 autistic kids and 3,500 ADD kids. And ADD and ADHD have increased, but not nearly as much as autism. So in 2003, there were 3,497 autistic students. In 2010, there were 10,575. And if the trend continues the way it has been, by 2020, there'll be 20,000 autistic students in the Los Angeles Unified School District.
Well, and that is something that we can refer back to our high school years and growing up in New Jersey because, yeah, we had special ed classes, but they really weren't filled.
No, and it's interesting about New Jersey is that they have the highest rate of autism in the country.
Really?
Yes, and I have my own personal theory on that.
I want to hear it.
Okay. Well,
I want to hear it. We all want to hear it.
Well, growing up in New Jersey, and I know this was true with many East Coast states, that we had a mosquito problem, and every summer the trucks would drive down the streets and spray DDT everywhere, the pesticide. And it turns out that DDT causes neurological damage. And, of course, growing up, we were exposed to it. It stays in, it doesn't leave the body. It goes into the tissues, and it just affects the thyroid. And it's interesting, there is a connection between autoimmune diseases and of mothers giving birth to children with neurological disorders. So part of my mission is to educate women, but and hopefully dads too, before they start having a family, to do a detox, to really detox, go to a doctor who knows about detoxing and do a serious detox program to remove the heavy metals and the pesticides and other chemicals from your body.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Holy Hormones, Honey, the Greatest Story Never Told. I'm Leslie Botha, your host. My guest this evening, author Deborah Merlin, mother of two sons, Victory Over ADHD, a holistic approach for helping children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a serious show that we're discussing with the high incidence of neurological damage that is being exhibited in our children. Deborah mentioned mercury levels. We're going to go back to that.
Yes.
She mentioned DDT. Growing up in New Jersey, I don't even know what to say about that. But detox is where she left off, and I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. This was in the yesterday's paper, the Coloradoan, which is the Fort Collins Sunday paper. Detoxification in the 21st century, no longer an option, a must. There is going to be a presentation on this tomorrow night, August 2nd, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Natural Health Center of the Rockies over on Drake Road. And there's a phone number you need to RSVP if you want to go to this, 970-225-6900. And I found this right after we spent an hour on the phone talking yesterday, Deborah, when you said detoxification is a must.
Yes, and good for you for finding that and sharing that information, because it is a necessity now. As a matter of fact, by detoxing your body, not only would you be hoping, or lessening the chances of having a child with neurological damage, but also developing cancer down the road and other health
and health
problems.
issues. So, I mean, all these new terms and therapies are coming into our, into our consciousness, if you will, as our environment is getting more damaged, as our environment is starting to damage us. I've been saying for years that we need to live in balance with our environment, and when the environment gets the better